Hi, welcome to the 700 Club. I'm Andrew Knox in for Gordon Robertson today. Just hours after a ceasefire agreement, Iran broke the deal. The IDF pledged to hit back after a missile launch against Israel.
President Trump said he's unhappy with both sides. He urged Israel to call off the retaliatory strike. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
Israel and Iran agreed to President Trump's ceasefire announcement, but within hours, Iran fired 2 missiles toward northern Israel. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered the IDF to strike Tehran. President Trump urged Israel to call off the response and said he's unhappy with both sides.
So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that.
Just before the ceasefire began, a deadly Iranian missile slammed into the southern Israeli town of Beersheba. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl visited the scene.
The 7-story building behind me got a direct hit from an Iranian missile just about the time the ceasefire was supposed to take effect. One bystander commented that this is what an Iranian ceasefire looks like, killing Jews to the last minute.
President Trump posted the ceasefire announcement on Monday night. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. He followed that with another post that said, Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, peace. I knew the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners. This just hours after Iran launched a barrage of missiles at a U.S. military base in Qatar. 13 of the 14 missiles were intercepted, and the attack did little damage. Iran notified Qatar of the attack beforehand, giving the U.S. time to prepare. After Trump's announcement, the Israeli government released a statement and said it achieved the main goals of its military operations against Iran. Israel has removed a dual immediate existential threat, both in the nuclear field and in the field of ballistic missiles. In addition, the IDF achieved complete air control over the skies of Tehran, inflicted severe damage on the military leadership, and destroyed dozens of central Iranian government targets. In the past 2 days, the IDF also hit Evin Prison, the headquarters of the Bajis, and the Israel destruction clock inside Tehran.
These are not sites that have strategic significance, but they have immense political significance. They are the pillars, if you will, of this horrendous regime. And by bombing them, Israel has weakened that regime. And so ultimately, the greatest guarantee we have for a non-nuclear, non-dangerous, non-threatening Iran is by the removal of the regime.
Also on Monday, Reza Pahlavi, the son of the late Shah of Iran, presented himself as a figure who can unify the country if the Iranian government collapses. He said the regime is on its last legs.
The Islamic Republic is collapsing. Credible reports indicate that Ali Khamenei's family and the family of senior regime officials are making preparations to flee Iran.
It remains to be seen if this ceasefire will provide a lifeline to the Ayatollah, or if the 12-day war has so weakened the regime that the people of Iran could rise up to overthrow the government. In an ominous statement, the head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said it plans to restart their nuclear program.
CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell is with us now from Jerusalem. Chris, this ceasefire seemed to come out of nowhere when President Trump announced it on Truth Social. What can you tell us about how the agreement came together, and do you think it's going to hold at this point?
Well, it's a great question, Andrew. It did seem to come out of nowhere just one day after President Trump had mentioned on Truth Social the possibility of regime change. It seemed to be mediated, according to President Trump, with the help of Qatar. I would say many here in Israel are leery of Qatar's influence. It does seem like it will hold, even with all the back and forth that went on earlier today. But we'll see. We're right at the beginning of the ceasefire. I think the feeling here in Israel right now is the ceasefire may actually been a bit premature before Israel inflicted even more damage on the regime itself.
You just mentioned the back and forth. Now, President Trump this morning was critical of Israel as well. How do you think Netanyahu, et cetera, are receiving that criticism?
Well, they just put out a statement a few minutes ago, and they said that they had a conversation, and President Trump, talked about them, about all the achievements they had with that. But I think that people generally here and the leadership as well are very grateful for President Trump, what they did with the Midnight Hammer and what they did with the Fordo enrichment facility. But having said that, I think there is a sense that maybe this stopped a little bit too short before reaching all of the goals of the regime.
From where you're reporting, is there a concern Iran might be stalling, that it only accepted the ceasefire for time to regroup, restock its missiles, and continue to attack Israel?
I think that's exactly a concern by some, that it'd just be able to repair the nuclear facilities, accelerate its nuclear program. One question a lot of people are asking, where's the enriched uranium? There's about 1,400 pounds of that, and where is that? Also, there is an Islamic tradition called a hudna, which is a temporary truce to regain strength, and that may be exactly what the regime is doing as well. And many are claiming, in Iran at least, the regime, is that there's a victory despite also the massive damage to its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. We'll see, Andrew, what the next weeks and months will hold.
So why would Israel accept this ceasefire? Do you think it's under pressure?
Well, it could be a matter of being under pressure. They also did announce earlier today that they really have achieved their two main goals, and that would be to destroy those existential threats, the Iranian nuclear program and the ballistic missile program. And in addition to that, they eliminated much of Iran's senior military leadership, many of their nuclear scientists. And then there was about 500 missiles launched, Andrew. They had an interception rate about 83%. They also eliminated Iran's air defenses, their ballistic missiles and launchers, believe it or not, with no loss of pilots or planes over 12 days. And even here on the home front, despite what happened in Beersheba earlier today, there was a 90% lower estimate than the casualties. They estimated maybe 400 or more. There's about 30. And also Iran's proxies were really paralyzed. And so many see this as not only a monumental military success, but as a miracle in the last 12 days.
Chris, final question. Is there a belief in Israel that regime change could actually happen in Iran?
Certainly the hope and prayer of many, and it really depends on if the regime is weakened enough so there could be a popular uprising. There have been many in 2009, 2022. The question is, how much have they been weakened, and will there be enough organized opposition to be able to take over the regime? That's certainly the prayer of many here in Israel and throughout the Middle East for this wicked regime that's oppressing these people for the last 46 years.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for your reporting. Always appreciate you joining us.
Sure.
And I want to let the audience know, by the way, coming up, David Brody is going to take an in-depth look at Trump's foreign policy. Right now, in the middle of the fighting, CBN Israel is helping Israeli citizens stay safe and calm. Teams are working with local groups to transform outdated bomb shelters into secure sanctuaries. They're providing critical safety and peace of mind to communities under threat.
This is Nicole Jantzisian with CBN Israel. You know, CBN has long been involved in building bomb shelters around the country, but the need has never been more urgent as it is right now. So we're here in Bat Yam, which is a city south of Tel Aviv, which has basically leveled building and damaged neighborhood due to an Iranian missile. One of our partner organizations is Tenufa B'Kehila, or Building Hope, and they have been on a mission to repair bomb shelters around the country. So tell us where we are and what's happening here.
An Iranian rocket fell here about 2 days ago and destroyed hundreds of homes in the neighborhood. This building was not hit, but people rushed to the bomb shelter. When they rushed to the bomb shelter, they found out that the staircase is broken and there's no railing. So older people could not go into the bomb shelter downstairs. Basically, it's unusable. There are 18 families living in this building, and they all need to use this bomb shelter. Hopefully, by the end of the day today, it's all going to be painted and cleared, and the stench is going to be out, and people can come and stay here.
It'll be a lot safer for my mother to get to the bomb shelter. She can hold onto the railing. Even getting out of the shelter was hard for her without this railing. Thank you so much for helping.
This is so touching. Thank you. I would kiss your hands for doing this work.
It was so easy to work with CBN. It's such a pleasure to work with CBN. I feel that Christians who support Israel, we have the same mission. We have, a biblical mission to strengthen Israel and make sure that the Jewish people is thriving in Israel.
Sometimes it's something as simple as a railing that is going to save lives, especially in an emergency. So we want to thank you so much for your support, because your support is literally helping to save lives here.
What an incredible difference you're making. We see the news and we see how missiles and bombs destroy buildings, and we see the rubble and then tend to move on. But have you considered trying to get elderly parents, grandparents down these steps to bomb shelters? We take things for granted. There's 18 families living in that building in an unusable bomb shelter, trying to get the elderly to safety. CBN Israel is making a difference, a very unique difference in the lives of Israelis. You can support CBN Israel as we work in Israel to help people in these desperate situations. There are many ways you can help. You can give us a call, 1-800-700-7000. You can go to a special website, cbn.com/help Israel. You can also text Help Israel to 71777. You can also write CBN Israel. You can also just jot Help Israel. CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23463. We're helping the elderly Holocaust survivors, distributing food boxes. There is so much to be done, especially bringing hope and letting people know they are not alone. Thank you for the difference you are making. Here at home, intense and historic weather is cooking much of America with triple-digit heat. Some areas haven't seen such high temps this early in the summer for more than a decade. Here is Charlene Aaron.
The calendar says June, but the hot temperatures feel more like deep summer as extreme heat grips the country.
It's boiling. It feels like over 100 degrees out of here. It's very hot.
In New York, temperatures near 100, the hottest since 1888. In Baltimore Monday, humidity made it feel like 113. Most of the northeastern part of the country, from Minnesota to Maine, is under some type of heat advisory. In Paterson, New Jersey, more than 160 people attending graduation ceremonies were treated for heat-related illnesses. In Philadelphia, power outages caused by the strain on the power grid stranded people on a subway for more than an hour with no air conditioning. In some cities, the heat is buckling roads and causing problems for drivers. As high temperatures continue, doctors warn to look for signs of heat stroke, like if someone stops sweating and they're confused or slur their speech.
Get to a hospital, get to treatment very quickly, because you need to be cooled down before your brain actually literally starts cooking.
We have to drink plenty of fluids and try to go indoors where there's air conditioning to get out of the heat and humidity at various times in the day.
Meanwhile, meteorologists say the dangerous heat will continue through at least Wednesday. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thank you, Charlene. Appreciate you reminding people we need to be really careful. I walked out of my home this morning and I thought, gosh, am I late? I mean, it was already so hot, kind of difficult to breathe. It was so humid. People need to be real careful.
The windows and the doors are wet on the exterior. Yesterday, when I left, I got in my car, and I always drive a little to let the temperature adjust. But it was, after driving a little with the air on, 101 degrees. Yeah. So it's been very, very hot. For us, we have hot summers. But for people up in Philadelphia, up in the New Jersey area, I don't think they're used to being quite like this. Yeah. So
make sure if there's someone elderly in your life, take care of them, your pets. It's dangerous out there. So let's be careful.
Drink lots of water.